You look at the world, you look at 2 things or 20 things, and then you discriminate between them, and then you pick one of them. You pick one of them thinking that this one element or one object, one option, is better than the rest. That's how the mind operates. Mind looks at diversity, keeps looking at diversity, and the diversity is what bewitches the mind. Here is one thing, here is another thing, here is that thing, here is this thing. So I like this, I dislike that. I have to go after that thing, I have to drop that thing. This thing is higher than that thing, hence I need to go for the next attainment. That's how the mind operates, and that's what makes the mind suffer. The choices that it makes, thinking one object to be superior than the other object. And we have to remind ourselves at this point that freedom from suffering is the objective of the Upanishads. The Rishi is speaking not just to becalm the mind, but to bring the mind to a point of wisdom where it can for itself see its follies. It looks at its own processes and realizes how it is misled or flawed. So, one suffers when one sees distinctiveness or variety. One feels incomplete because there is something more to be had. One feels insecure because there is the threat of the attained objects being lost. And all of that is because the world that we perceive through our senses is perceived as a world of diversity. Right? The world, in fact, is nothing but the diversity that you see.
Acharya, is it possible to see these mental objects as one, like happiness and sadness, like you just said?
The question is it possible to see the mental objects as one? Well, yes, if you are not repulsed by or enamored by one of them. It is when you strike an unworthy relationship with yourself, with your experiences. That's when the truth starts fading away from you. Otherwise, the fact of happiness will be self-apparent. It is all happening to you. Therefore, you are in the best condition to quickly, immediately, and honestly see what is happening, how it has all happened, from where have the experiences and the emotions arisen. But you will not see any of that if you want happiness too badly. You will not see any of that if you are too frightful of sadness. Getting it? Happiness can come as a guest. You do not need to turn it away. Sadness too can come as a guest. There is no need to not to welcome it. It's when you have been desirous of one for long and scared of the other for long that you fail to see the truth of them. Otherwise, they are just fleeting things related to your physical existence. Don't you feel hungry every day? How special is that? Similarly, it's all right if you feel happy every day. Don't you feel sleepy or thirsty every day? Don't make these special. If happiness is not special, then happiness will be a delight. If sadness is not special, then you will be able to carry sadness very lightly. Let tears be just tears. They should not hold a great meaning. And then you can cry freely. And there is delight in crying freely. But it is unseemly when tears erupt from a suppressed state. Hmm? You see, there is precipitation that comes from the clouds. And then there is the formation of the dewdrops on the leaves early morning. And then there is the eruption of volcanoes. When volcanoes erupt, then too it rains. You know that? It rains ash and it rains lava. Why must there be so much suppression of sadness that when it erupts, your entire being shakes like the place around the mountain? Even if you have to cry, cry gently, like gentle rain from the clouds or the gentle formation of dew on the little leaves. Nobody even came to know. And the little dewdrop found its way into being. That should be the quality of your tears. But sadness makes us go mad. Our tears don't flow, they erupt. They erupt because we are so scared of sadness that we suppress it for very, very long, forcibly. One day it erupts, like the volcano. Let it flow. Similarly, laughter. Hmm? There is the gentle breeze, you know. And then there is the huge gust coming from an industrial fan. We want happiness so much that we construct artificial ways to have it. Have you seen industrial fans? They're really huge. You stand in front of them, you'll be blown away. That's how our happiness usually is. We have manufactured our happinesses and we want lots of it. Hmm? There is the sweetness that's contained in fruits, in a banana, in a guava, in a mango. And then there are these fizzy, aerated drinks containing sugar. Or happiness is like that fizzy drink. So much sugar. Spirituality is not about abandoning these dualities you are talking of. Spirituality is about welcoming them without resistance and without expectation or attachment. You tell me a joke, I'll laugh. It's fine. But I'm not desperate to hear a joke. Why am I? No. One of my pets dies. I'll weep. I won't pretend equanimity. It's okay. Does one have to pretend to be someone who is never hungry? Then why do you have to pretend to be someone who is never angry? You do something mischievous, I'll be angry. The next moment you do something funny, I'll laugh. But I'm not dying to laugh.
Charlie, when someone listens to this talk in wrong context, then there are like many people who say like all is fine, all is well, and don't do like be at ease and don't do anything. So like how how can one draw that fine line?
Then one has to be very careful whether this talk is really intended for him or her. We said one has to keep making the right choice endlessly before one comes to choicelessness. So one has to honestly ask, have I, if not endlessly, then at least for long, made right choices in my life? Only then can I honestly declare that, now I don't need to choose because all appears one to me. Otherwise, in the name of oneness, one would just wickedly fulfill his desires. No? The grain and the flesh are one. So why should I not consume the flesh of the chicken or the goat? After all is one. All is one is not an objective statement. All is one does not refer to the chicken and the goat and the grain being one. All is one refers, I repeat, not to the objects but to the subject. The relationship that the subject strikes with the various objects. As long as one thing appears more desirable than the other things, how is all one to you? Tell me, please. When I say all is one, then I do not mean that the pillar and the post are one, that the TV and the radio are one, that the table and the chair are one. When it is said all is one, I refer to the subject, the experiencer. Are you experiencing them differently in context of your desire? If yes, then you still have a long way to go. Objectively speaking, the wall and the floor will never be one. So it's not about objects, it's about the subject. Have you, in your inner journey, come to a point where you do not see anything as excessively desirable and anything as too repugnant? It's about you. The question is about you. Now, if you are fond of flesh and you start consuming flesh in the garb of spiritual axioms, then it's just self-deception.